To understand what I'm about to tell you, you need to do something first. You need to believe in the impossible. Can you do that?
What do you desire that you can't have?
Now you should at least give a brother a moment to say something heroically clever.
You have failed this city.
So I have this thing with rolls?
Just the end of the world.
There's about a dozen ways that I could stop you right now. But I don't think I have to.
You're the boy from the circus.
I started up a security firm.
Finally, a superhero team I can actually get behind.
In the future, my friends may not be heroes, but if we succeed, they will be remembered as legends.
Welcome to the DC TV report for the week ending Saturday, October 26th, 2019. I'm Little Eddie O'Hare.
And I'm Sara, academic by day, writer by night.
We're here to bring you recaps, news, and commentary for all live-action television shows based on DC Comics.
And Ed, we've got 7 new episodes this week, including one series premiere. I think it's safe to say we're in it now. We're in it.
Yeah, we're all in it. We're all in it. Wow, wow. This is busy. This is busy.
It's busy. This semester, more than any in memory, I've had students say, oh, hey, have you seen this show or this movie or that show? And almost always I have to say, no, I haven't had time. I'm so sorry. I used to be the one who was like, yeah, let's talk about themes and details. And now I'm just like, no, I'm old and lame. And I watch shows for my podcast. And then I go to bed. That's what I do. I barely recognize myself.
Yeah, you know, give it a little bit of time. Get back into the flow of things. You know, you can watch like 6 episodes of television a night, right? That's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah, that's what we as Americans, and we owe it to the founding fathers to do that. So, yeah.
Oh man. You know, I got so much stuff to do today. I gotta get a haircut.
I feel like you've just got a haircut.
Yeah.
I don't mean to make everyone forgive the domestic side note here, but like,
yeah, it keeps.
You just got. It looked so nice a couple weeks ago. What happened?
It just keeps growing. It just keeps growing. You know, probably. I
suppose it's better than the alternative.
Yeah. I should get my car looked at. Oh, I got errands to run this weekend and only 2 days to do it. And yeah, we got a podcast. We got 7 episodes to cover.
Does that mean we should stop talking about your hair?
Probably. Just real quick housekeeping up front. Do want to thank everyone for listening and contributing. We did get a couple tweets this week. If you want to drop us a line, emails dctv@wickedtheory.com. Also on Twitter @DCTVReport. And you know, if you really like listening to us and want to help us out or help out Wicked Theory Studios, the Wicked Theory podcast I hear is coming back soon. We have a Patreon. It's patreon.com/wickedtheory, and for as little as $1 a month, you can just, you know, help out with their overhead, bandwidth costs, that kind of thing. And there you'll get another free podcast, which is Ed Bonds with Bill, where I force our executive producer and very good friend Bill Sweeney to watch James Bond movies. Last time we watched The Spy Who Loved Me, and that was a lot of fun. That's my favorite Roger Moore.
It's about time for a new Bonding, isn't it?
Yes, and I think we may have to postpone until next week for stuff that's going on and with Bill this weekend. So I don't know if we'll quite get to one, so I can't reveal it. But definitely within the next definitely next week we will be doing another one. So yeah, that's what's going on with us. Sarah, you ready to dive into some DC TV?
I think we have to, because we have 7 episodes this week.
All right, so let's jump right in. First up is Batwoman, Season 1, Episode 3, Down, Down, Down. Kate made Alice promise not to kill anybody for 24 hours. A weapon that could pierce the Batsuit was stolen, and Kate suspected Bruce Wayne's childhood friend, Tommy Elliott. Jacob assigned Sophie to be Mary's bodyguard. Last minute reveal, Kate stood on a tower in her new suit and posed for the helicopters.
You got the wig. Did you like the wig?
We got the red hair. We got the red bat symbol. Yeah. I am so glad that happened. This feels like a whole new show to me. Like this, I like the fact that we got a flashback up front and didn't really go back to it. It wasn't riddled with flashbacks like the first 2 episodes were. We got some deep dives into Batman lore. We got to meet Tommy Elliott, who, if anyone's read Batman Hush, he's a very important villain who's going to pop up. We got a little bit more with Alice. We got some cool stuff with Jake, with Kate's family. It wasn't a perfect episode, but I feel like it's the best episode so far.
I would not disagree with that. It felt a little less self-consciously, I'm introducing the characters, and here's the world, and here's this person, and here's how this person relates. And it felt like they finally trusted us to just run full speed ahead into the story and the plot and the people. And most importantly, among those people is Mary, who is my favorite. My favorite. I love her. She keeps getting stuck on the elevator for the world's most awkward conversations when she clearly wants to be anywhere else. So amazing. I love Mary.
Yes. So Sophie is forced to be her bodyguard, and Mary's, she's. Would you classify her as an influencer? Is she like in that range, or?
I think so. She's an influencer, but she's also a doctor who can step in and just start treating people because she's amazing.
Yes.
Team Mary. But also, ouch, Sophie did not tell her husband about Kate. Ouch.
No. So, you know what? It's funny. Sophie to me feels like the flattest character on this show. And I feel like she's kind of a punching bag right now because Kate really hates her, and now everyone else, Tyler realizes that she hasn't been completely truthful with him. And I don't know. I feel like I want to see her fighting a little bit more just to keep her ground and to I don't know. I feel like she should be more upset and active over what's happening.
Yeah, I feel like right now she's being used to make Kate feel bad. And I'd like to see something a little bit more than that. On the flip side, Hot Bartender.
Ooh.
I liked Hot Bartender. I'm into it.
Yes.
Who wouldn't hit on that Hot Bartender? Good for Kate.
Reagan, yes. Yeah.
Oh, Hot Bartender has a name.
Yes, her name is Reagan. At least that's what IMDb says. And I guess was she subbing in for the audience? With pointing out how clueless Tyler was. Didn't realize that he was his wife's ex.
Yeah, the whole audience is like, dude, do you not see it? And Reagan just, shaking her martini like, hey, my dude, my man, my bro, you know?
Yeah. And I think that's also cool that you see that Kate is starting to have a little bit of a life outside of Sophie. And also kind of, is trying to figure out, can she have a social life outside Batwoman?
Yeah, I'm into it. This feels a little early Oliver Queen, and I say that with a great deal of admiration and anticipation. This idea of, kind of millionaire playboy, dating around, hiding secret identities. Yeah, I'm into it.
Okay. So of all of the I think we eliminated a motif this week.
Okay.
It seems like this show has like 3 different things that are like running motifs. And the first one was we're going to do constant flashbacks, and we didn't have that this week. I think they decided to kind of put that aside. And I think that
I was actually happy for you when I noticed that, because I knew you weren't liking that.
Yes. And I think now we're down to 2, and I'm wondering which one do you think that they're going to choose? Do you think they're going to choose the Kate constantly writing letters to Bruce the whole episode? Or do you think it's going to be Rachel Maddow as DJ Vesper Fairchild talking about Batwoman?
I think they're going to keep Rachel Maddow and they're going to ditch the letters. At least that's my personal hope.
Mhm.
What about you?
I agree with you, and I think that's the right choice. I think the letters to Bruce are a nice idea, but it's the kind of thing, like, if she does that once an episode, okay. But to have her constantly be talking to Bruce throughout the episode, it feels the same like the flashbacks. It feels like a crutch that you're falling on, either for filler or because you need to give context. It's almost like do you trust Kate Kane as an actress to convey how she's feeling? Do you feel like we're not picking up on her emotional state? Or it's like superheroes are that kind of, I don't feel like she constantly needs to explain herself. I feel like you can use the visual medium and allow us to infer that stuff.
Also, who's got that much to say to their cousin? I like my cousins a lot, but I'm in a great group text with my cousins where it's a highlight, but I'm not writing letters to them.
Yeah. Like, do you remember on Supergirl, there might have, in the first season, there might have been one episode where Kara and Clark IM each other.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
And that was all that happens. Plus, also, I gotta say this to Bill Sweeney on a drive home, pointed out. So what is she gonna do when he shows up? Is she just gonna hand him this book? Oh, here's all the stuff I've done, and make him read it? Because she can't send out those letters because she doesn't know where he is. It seems like something that sounds nice in a writer's room, but doesn't make sense in reality.
And in real life, she hands Bruce the scrapbook, and he's like, "What? No, I don't want to." Oh my god!
No. It's more like when you get a bad Christmas gift at a big family party. Like, oh, thank you so much. I am going to put this right here, and I will look at it when I get home, and then we'll talk about it some other time. I will read it though, I promise.
I'm gonna find a special place for this.
Yes.
Special.
Oh, okay. So yeah, Mary's awesome. Sophie, Alice. I thought Alice kind of came into her own a little bit in this episode. It was very tangential, but I think she's starting to get a little bit of Joker feel.
Yeah, I could see that. We're not talking about Joaquin Phoenix Joker. We're talking about the actual fun Joker.
Yeah. I thought the whole thing where she broke into Jacob's apartment and took care of the security guy, and kind of hijacked and called him up. That felt very menacing villain to me. That felt like a vibe, like something that the Joker would do. I kind of like that.
Yeah, me too. She's fun. She's a fun villain. I hope she remains a fun villain. I guess that's where my trust issues come in. I'm enjoying it now. It could go badly. I know it could go badly.
Yeah. And do you think Kate finally believes her that she doesn't want to be, that she wants to be this way?
I don't. I think it's going to take more than that to get Kate to give up. But that was kind of brutal.
Yeah. I you know what? Could we have just done a 2-hour pilot and had this be the second half?
Maybe. In retrospect. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that might have been better. But either way, I like this episode, and I think the show is moving in a positive direction. Yeah, did you have any other thoughts, Sarah? Anything else I missed?
No, I do have a little bit of news.
Ooh, okay.
Batwoman has gotten a full season order.
Yay!
Huzzah!
All right.
22 episodes. So that's good news.
Yes, that is very good news. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Ruby Rose also did an interview recently where she's said she's cutting back on stunts a little bit. We reported that she had surgery on some old injuries on her spine, and apparently by now she knows, I don't have to do all the stunts. I can do this, but not that. So she's being a little more selective, and good for her. Don't hurt yourself.
Yeah,
cheekbones are too important for that. So
stay safe, stay healthy. All right. Ready to move on?
Absolutely.
All right. Next up, Supergirl, Season 5, Episode 3, Blurred Lines. Kara suspected William was lying to her about the death of a famous scientist. Brainy would not stop writing poetry for Nia. John asked Nia to use her powers to help organically recover his lost memories of his brother, Malefic. Malefic posed as a friend of Kelly's to get access to her neurotechnology. Lena guilted Kara into stealing Lex's journals from the army. Last minute reveal, Hope helped Lena decipher Lex's journals and discovered a paper on Q waves.
Sean Astin was great. More Sean Astin, please.
Sean Astin. Now, do you know him more as Samwise or as Rudy?
Oh, okay. I've told the story before, right? I saw Rudy relatively late in life with Jason, who had me convinced that Rudy died at the end. And so I spent the whole time like, oh my God, are they going to put him on the field? Is he going to get tackled to death? Like, and then he didn't die. And I've never felt more betrayed in my marriage, ever. So to me, he is kid from Goonies / Samwise Gamgee. That's my Sean.
Okay.
He is not still alive Rudy to me.
Because that's the thing with Rudy. You're trying to figure out, like, oh, why does everyone make a big deal? Is he disabled? Did something happen to him? Like, what's and in the end, it's like, no, he just wasn't very good. And then they let him play.
He had a lot of heart.
Yes.
And he did not die from a tackle. And so
yeah. And
I was happy.
And evidently he's Colonel Sanders now. So
he was great. And he was such a perfect casting choice for schlubby friend who, of course, Kelly is going to want to help. He was just perfect.
Yes. Now I want to meet that actual character and find out like what was really going on there. Because we never actually meet that guy. We just see Malefic posing as him.
Yes. And that actually, so reminder, I recap Supergirl for EW.com, and that bothered some of the commenters who are always bothered. They always love pointing out the logical fallacies in Supergirl, and I just want to tell them to calm down. How did he know what he sounded like, and how did he know about his backstory, and how was he able to, from the picture, just let it happen. My God, it's Supergirl. Just the emotional reality trumps the logical reality. We all know that. Just let it happen.
If I don't know if anyone here has or knows someone who's been scammed over the phone. A lot of times you just ask basic questions and the other person will fill in the gaps for you, so
I believe that's also how many psychics work.
Yes. Do you live near a courthouse? Do you know?
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
Yeah. It's exactly that kind of thing. But yeah. So yeah, Kelly is way too trusting. And like, what what did this guy what did she and this guy go through together that she's willing to risk her job for all of that?
I think they have those military ties, and also she's Kelly. It's what she does.
Yes. And yeah. So now James is taking her into hiding. Yeah. And so does this mean James is not running for Senate? Like, do you think this is...
I am so confused. Were they going to have James run for Senate or the Smithsonian, or is he hiding with Kelly? He's got a lot of irons in the fire in a strange way.
Yeah.
So that messaging feels a little muddied, but I guess they're on the run.
Yes.
I did think it was strange that Kara had so much trouble with spider webs, but I guess it made Guardian feel important.
I mean, it's, just because just because she's strong, like if something's sticky, it's still just annoying to try to...
If something's sticky. I mean, what are you going to do?
Also, do notice at the very end, Kara gave James a portal watch. So that will probably play into Crisis somehow. If like he hides Kelly on another Earth, this could get dangerous. To see if that may play into the Crisis crossover in any way, where they need to run to another Earth to save James and Kelly. Just saying.
Yes, indeed. By the way, this has nothing to do with anything, but Eve Tessmacher / Hope is pregnant with her first child, and that explains the flowy outfit.
Oh, okay.
If anybody was curious.
Mm-hmm.
She has been intentionally placed into these big, like, fancy flowy tops, so that's why, just for the record.
Yeah. And she's very helpful to Lena. But I think the problem is that Hope also does not, have a good sense of right and wrong. So I think Lena's really devoid of a moral compass here. I know Kara really wants to be friends, but like breaking into an army facility and stealing Lex Luthor's journals.
And at least to her credit, she said, "Oh, maybe I shouldn't, but I guess I said I would." So I don't know about that. Boy, for a show that has told us that Lena and Kara are not in a romantic relationship, that was some romantic stuff they showed us. The show really needs to get on board with its own messaging, because honestly, they had like Supergirl hovering outside of Lena's penthouse, and they both have these soft smiles when they see each other in the music. They need to get it together and be consistent with no, they're just friends. She flew to Paris and Dublin, and someplace else, Vienna. I can't remember. Come on.
Hey man. But she could do that. I still remember a great moment in Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman, where Dean Cain's Superman flew to China to get Chinese food for Lois Lane.
Because he loved her. This is my point.
Yes. Yes. Now, speaking of love, or maybe lack thereof, how sad was it to see things with Nia and Brainy finally fall apart this week?
Yeah, I don't. Could they not have talked a little more about things? Were they not? Nia should have been a little more open sooner about, you got to pump your brakes, and Brainy was a little like, if you can't handle me at my worst, you don't get me at my best. Like, okay. I'm not giving up hope for those two crazy kids. How about you?
Yeah, I think it's the kind of thing, they probably moved in way too fast.
I mean, sure.
But I think it's also the kind of thing where, like, it's been like a couple episodes now this season where like Brainy's been really, really clingy, and Nia just needs to relax. And if at a certain point, if he's not getting the message, then maybe this just isn't working out, and we're trying to make a square peg fit in a round hole.
Maybe. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
He loves her though. He's never loved anybody, including our ancestors. So I think they're going to give it another go.
Her descendant. Which makes it weird.
Yeah, thank you.
So yeah, probably not, but I can understand why the breakup happened now.
Yes. He's bad about picking up on social context cues, and he just needs to get better about that.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But you know what was really good this week? The de-aging technology on David Harewood and Carl Lumbly. Holy cow.
Yes. Yeah. The Malefic storyline. And also like it was great to see Carl Lumbly back. I thought that whole scene was heartbreaking, and the fact that Nia was able to uncover that, really makes me wonder why he went to Kelly at all in the first place. Like he should have just started with Nia. And you found out that it was John who erased Malefic from the memory of all the Green Martians, and it was to spare his father. Wow, that was powerful stuff.
That was powerful stuff. I do love that they keep making up new Kryptonian like rules and traditions every week, but I'm into it.
Yeah. So this is we've got a couple of big bads going on this season. And I'm interested to see like how much farther this is gonna go, and like are Malefic and John gonna hash it out. Also, we haven't seen him in human form yet, but Malefic is voiced by Phil LaMarr, who I think is also another great actor. And it'd be interesting to see if you see him in human form go, hash it out with David Harewood. Like, I mean,
we'll get to see them go toe to toe soon.
Yeah. I mean, your dad's Carl Lumbly and your brother's Phil LaMarr. I mean, I think that's that's great company there. All right. Anything I missed? Anything I didn't cover?
This was a full week ago, so everybody should have listened to Alex. That's my summary here. Alex was like, you, Kelly, need to stop doing this, and you, Kara, need to not do that, and nobody listened to her, and everybody got in trouble. So listen to Alex. The end.
There you go. Listen to Alex. Any news for Supergirl?
Nope.
All right. Then we are on to Watchmen series premiere. It's summer, and we're running out of ice. In 1921, a small boy fled a Ku Klux Klan riot in Tulsa, Oklahoma. In the present, a Tulsa cop was murdered, and Angela Abar, aka Sister Night, was deputized by Sheriff Judd Crawford to round up the Rorschach-inspired terrorist group known as the 7th Cavalry. A rich man celebrated his anniversary and received a stopwatch as a gift from his butler. Last minute reveal, Angela drove up to an oak tree and found an old man in a wheelchair sitting next to a hanging Judd.
I don't even know where to start. This feels like the most. This is the best show we're gonna talk about, isn't it? Like this is the most layered, rich. Like this is gonna be our greatest challenge as podcasters. This show, right?
Yes, yeah. This was wow.
So let me start on a dumb note. Is Crookshanks a hybrid cat like Boobastis? I need to know this. I need this to be another Boobastis because sorry, we're just jumping into the comic book stuff. That was still one of the hardest panels I've ever watched. Like read. Like Boobastis! I'm hoping Crookshanks is
Miss.
All right, we can talk about other stuff.
Miss Crookshanks. All right, so we're starting there. So that scene, which came out of absolutely nowhere, And let me tell you, when someone at my job asked me about this, and someone else was sitting there and had not seen the show and had no context, and I'm running through, so we got the Oklahoma race riots, Vietnam's a state now, Robert Redford's president, and then there's that rich guy in a castle, and they give him a horseshoe to cut his cake. Like, no one has any idea what's going. You can't explain this show to another person. And that whole thing, I mean, the going theory now is that Miss Crookshanks and Mr. Phillips are robots,
Well, robots or like brainwashed, kidnap victims or some sort of clones. My big question is how Tom Mison went from being scorchingly hot as Ichabod Crane in Sleepy Hollow on Fox to not attractive at all as weird robot butler. That was for me revelatory. Like, was it the hair? Was it the long hair in Sleepy Hollow? Was that what did it? I'm curious. That feels like it's going to end badly for somebody.
Yes. Now, there's something else that happened in that sequence that I cannot believe you haven't brought up yet, and I am not going to be the person that says exactly what happens. So
shirtless Jeremy Irons?
Yeah, while he was typing and what was happening, what else was happening in that scene?
That was sort of matter of fact in a way that I was like, all right, well, I hope she's being compensated well for that. Robot oil or whatever it is that she needs. In case you forgot you were watching HBO.
Yes. What did she say? It's like chafe down there or there's something.
And I will admit, for a moment I was like, well, maybe she's like, he was riding, so maybe she's just, there's ointment and it's just ointment.
Yeah, that was,
Irons could still get it. That's all I'm saying. It's an attractive man.
Now that cake, which is in the same colors as Ozymandias' costume, we're pretty sure Jeremy Irons is playing Adrian Veidt, aka Ozymandias. Now that cake to me looks something more like it was out of a Wes Anderson movie.
It does. Yes, you're right. It's very twee.
It's something Ray Fiennes would have ordered in Grand Budapest Hotel.
I hated Grand Budapest Hotel. I also did not care for Moonrise Kingdom. Okay, we don't have to dwell on this. We can keep going.
So yeah. So now we can talk about the rest of the show. I mean, to me, the person who the one character, there was a surprise death at the end of this episode, and that was
did you see this coming?
No.
Me either.
No. Poor Judd is dead. Poor Judd Fry is dead.
I guess they told us what was going to happen in the title of the episode, so shame on us for not getting there.
And I feel like we need to discuss the musical. So, Sarah, when you were in high school, did your high school ever put on a production of Oklahoma?
Weirdly, no. I am fairly well versed in musical theater, but that is one musical I've never been in and haven't. I'm just not as fluent in that one. So no. How about you?
I've never been in a production of Oklahoma. I went to an all boys Catholic high school, and our sister school did a production of it that a lot of my friends were in. But
wait, was that how you all got to interact with girls?
Yeah. That's why we did theater. Yeah.
All right.
Or
continue.
Why most of us did theater. So It's a very interesting choice. It's funny. It's funny. Like, this is set in Oklahoma, and they're doing a production of Oklahoma. I always had a feeling that that was the kind of show that like people from Oklahoma probably actually hated. Um, it's like, oh god, that's what they think this place is. Um, but um, I thought it was interesting the way that they utilized it. And you got to see Don Johnson sing. And the thing I liked about that scene is that he was okay, but when he started singing, it was a little shaky, and that felt true to life to me. I feel like he didn't pull like movie star way and say no, I've got to pre-record this and the whole thing's got to be perfect. It's more like he's a guy sitting at a table, everyone's making fun of him, and he just decides just to break out into song.
He just leans into it.
Yeah.
I thought that the performance of the musical was one of the very cool, very subtle bits of world building that this episode did. If you heard me talk about Pennyworth, you've heard me talk about how exciting I find world building like that, especially alt history. But it was an all black cast, and you saw sort of, I don't know, I'm not fluent enough in the culture to be able to pinpoint it specifically, but like Afro touches in the music and the costume and the dance. I mean, like, this was not how Oklahoma is done. And so you can see how society has shifted with the Redfordations, right? Like, you see those subtle differences in just the way community theater is performed. I thought that was really, really cool.
Yeah. Also, Oklahoma, for those who may not know, is a very groundbreaking musical. Just, kind of like the influential way, in the same way Citizen Kane is considered a great movie. But I've never really cared for it, just because the story, spoiler, ends on a very strange note, which is like, oh, you killed him? It's okay. We never really liked him anyway.
Maybe that's why they chose this musical for this premiere.
Yeah. So let's move. So moving into the main story. Okay, so that opening scene, which is pretty much one shot, which starts in the movie theater, where you see, a movie about Bass Reeves, and then moves out of the movie theater into the town where you see all the riot happening, into that auto shop where they take the kid, and the kid goes and watches the auto shop blow up as he's being driven away.
It was like, I realize it's a real event we're talking about, but it felt a little like Kal-El being shipped off of Krypton, right? Like, get him to safety, put him in a pod. And,
that's exactly what it was. That's exactly what they were going for. Like, this is very much a superhero origin story. I agree with you. It's taken right out of that. It's Kal-El being sent to Earth from Krypton.
Interestingly, not surprisingly, if you look at Google search trends for the Tulsa race riots, they exploded the night this premiered. You can see very little search interest, and then everybody Googled, like, did this really? Oh God, that really happened. So
yeah. Cool. It was something that actually happened in Oklahoma. There was an affluent black area in Tulsa that was referred to as Black Wall Street, and a group of white supremacists attacked and burned the area to the ground.
Including with planes, according to many reports. I was curious about that, whether that was a storytelling flourish that Damon Lindelof engaged in, but apparently there were reports of planes dropping incendiaries. So
yes. Yeah. And then we move up to modern day, and we see, after Watchmen's taken effect, a very different version of a traffic stop.
Yeah, you got your white supremacist bumping the hip hop. You've got him very carefully, like hands on the steering wheel, reaching into the glove box. Very different scenario. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. You have a black police officer who's hidden by a yellow scarf over his face. And
who needs permission to release his weapon, which I thought was when we reported on Damon Lindelof saying this was a show that wasn't going to have one political ideology and you're going to have a lot of different interpretations. That, yeah, yes, he was not kidding. There are a lot of ways to read this.
Yeah, yeah, because the delay and the time it took him to get that weapon cost that man his life. You know, and it's you know, and it's I mean, really what this kind of shows you is that solutions aren't easy to come by. You know, it's so yeah, and then we find this whole thing where this world cops hide behind masks because it's not safe for them, because you know, and it's sort of, what's funny is in the comics in 1977, you know, Nixon mandates that superheroes have to take off their masks, and now in this world, police officers, for fear of reprisals, decide to put on masks. And
because of White Night, when people rose up and killed police officers and their families, yeah, and so they all have costumes and personas, and
and we see it's a very different kind of you know, it's a very different kind of approach, you know, and sort of the camaraderie between them, and we meet some different heroes. Tim Blake Nelson as Looking Glass, this is a role that Tim Blake Nelson was born to play. I love that accent, and it's a very simple mask, but still very elegant. And when he's giving that test, and you know, the way the pictures, I think they call that the cauldron, when he's interrogating a suspect, and they're projecting all of these pictures on the walls and the way they're bouncing off of his mask. Whereas Red Scare, who's just a guy with a Russian accent who wears a red ski mask, like, not very creative at all.
I feel like that would be me. My police persona would just be like, I don't know, I found this on the floor of my bedroom.
Well, my favorite persona this week was Panda, which is just a guy with an enormous panda mask. It's like, no, I've worn this for 10 years. I don't care if I can't fit it in a washing machine. This is my thing. Yeah, we haven't even talked about Angela, about Sister Night.
That's because Regina King is so amazing in this. I need a full 10 minutes to just, she's so amazing in this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If she grew up in Vietnam, and you know, she works undercover as a cop. You know, do you think that bakery's ever going to open, or is that just a front?
I don't, and I have some questions. So, do they work shorter shifts in order to have cover plot story jobs for those purposes? Are they like freelance cops who just kind of show up as needed? I have some questions about the financial and division of labor as it goes, but you know what? It's cool. It's fine. She's going to have to open it at some point and have middling amounts of baked goods there for the cover. And I look forward to seeing that happen.
All right.
Her costume, though, amazing.
Yes.
So badass.
Yes. And yeah. And the Seventh Cav, that stuff was very scary. Yeah, it was weird, just all the different things that they were drawing from. It didn't feel a lot like the books until something like the owl ship shows up, and I'm wondering, like, is that Archie? Is that the actual ship, or do they just give every local police department an owl ship?
I saw I saw it referred to online as using the owl ship as a prototype, so that led me to believe that it was not the ship. But I don't know. I don't know that was explicit in the world, so I would hate to speculate. I'd like to think it's a prototype because they damaged it, and I don't want the owl ship damaged. I feel very protective of the owl ship.
And now that Judd's dead and found hanging from a tree, what do you think this is going to bring in Tulsa?
I don't know. And was he? What secrets are going to come out about him? What is that going to do with Angela? How perfect was that last shot that we were waiting for all hour long of the blood on the badge?
Yes, to mimic the blood on the smiley face button. Yeah, that was great.
So I guess what I would say is this feels like an amazingly smart and important take on an issue that is as important in 2019 as the Cold War communist threat was when the original books were coming out. I'm really excited about where this is going to go. I think everything is spot on, from subtle world building to little Easter eggs from the comics to that Trent Reznor score. All of it is wonderful. Also, quickly, Sundancer in Chief. Such a good insult. I'm into it. I'm excited that the next episode is going to be so soon upon us.
Yes.
Also, I'm a little concerned because I went to add HBO Now to my cable lineup when this started, but it was already there. And so have I been paying for HBO since Game of Thrones ended? And I just thought I canceled and didn't. That's a Sara thing. I realized that, but
okay.
Oops.
Was there
the end?
Was there any news on Watchmen? Mm-hmm.
Hey, right-wing trolls are review bombing it, of course, because we can't have nice things. I hate them. So yeah, it's got one of those, like social justice warriors everywhere that give the 1-star things. So just stop it. Also, I mentioned this earlier. This was a content that was dropped in the dialogue that I found this definition from articles about the show to be helpful. Redfordations is referring to reparations, lifetime tax exemption for victims of and the descendants of racial injustice through America's history. So that's where that came from. Obviously, Redfordations being an insult based on the president who enacted it. That's why Tim Blake Nelson asked that suspect, do you think all people should pay taxes? It just helped put some things in perspective for me, and that was not made explicitly clear. Damon Lindelof is a big fan of Ta-Nehisi Coates' writings on reparations. So it's just part of the world he's building. It's very interesting, and I think it's going to be a little uncomfortable for everybody on all sides of the political aisle as we watch all this, and I'm into it, and I cannot wait for episode 2.
Cool. All right. Now we did twice as long as that.
We need to giddy up a little bit, don't we?
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Next show up is Black Lightning, Season 3, Episode 3. The Book of Occupation, Chapter 3. Agent Odell's Pipe Dream. Agent Odell asked Lynn to help diagnose a deadly virus that had broken out amongst the metas in quarantine. Agent Odell gave Jefferson fancy new tech and asked him to free some ASA agents being held captive by the Markovians. Agent Odell tried making a deal with Tobias for the briefcase he stole. Agent Odell lied to Jennifer about the death of Khalil's mom and asked her to blow up a Markovian data farm. Agent Odell asked Khalil to suit up and attack a Markovian safe house. Anissa had a case of too many girlfriends. Inspector Henderson had a really rough week. Last minute reveal, Tobias hallucinated a taunting Black Lightning and vowed to take revenge.
Is that your longest recap ever?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Man, Agent Odell was everywhere this week.
Yes, he was. Just everything flowed through him. Yeah. So what Agent Odell storyline would you like to start with?
I suppose Jefferson and the Pierce is finally being let go. Jefferson has a new suit. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, it's funny. I'm almost surprised that like one, they let him keep the suit, but also that he would take it. Because
there's some kind of tracker or some kind of microphone. You can't trust that.
I mean, is Gamby gonna even want to touch it when he sees it?
No, Gamby will put it in a safe room immediately. Torch it.
Yeah. We didn't really get to see Gamby this week. But yeah. So a lot going on in Freeland. So he's basically got the run of the ASA. That virus, I was actually kind of surprised that Lynn was able to get the handle on that virus so quickly. But yeah, so you got this virus going on. He's got Jefferson who wants to go home. The Marco and now I'm starting to wonder, like, are the Markovians real? Because we saw him blame Khalil's mom's death on the Markovians, and I'm sure they're real, but like, are they the real threat? Like what?
I will be curious how that unfolds in terms of who's funding, who's sending what propaganda to whom. I will be curious if there's more to that story. I agree.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and and Khalil is in shape.
All I have in my notes for that is just painkiller's abs. That's all I've typed. But yes, he is.
He knows all the mixed martial arts. And
all of them.
What's going to happen when he runs into Jennifer?
I cannot wait to find out. It's going to be awful for her. Bring it on. She was wonderful this week. I liked her being the concerned dad when Anissa was late coming home. I loved that tour she did of the school. Yeah, this is where I got kidnapped by a bunch of drug dealers. This is where my boyfriend's spine was ripped out of his body. Okay, see you at lunch.
So do you think Brandon tries to ask her out?
I think she put him off for at least a week, I think, with that.
Yeah. And Anissa, everything Anissa's been up to. So she finds out that Grace is alive. I thought that scene, the breakup scene with Jamela, I thought that was really cool. I feel like on most TV shows, when you see people break up, it's usually like a knockdown, drag out fight, or someone walks away crying, and just to see a moment where it's like, oh, okay, you found somebody else, that's all right, let's just enjoy a drink together. We could still be friends.
Everybody was an adult.
Yeah. Yeah. And what else did she do in the beginning?
She blackbirded some stuff.
Oh yeah, she tossed a car at a helicopter.
I mean, yeah, obviously.
Yeah, and I'm really glad Jefferson is back on the scene, because I feel like she's had to have the brunt of a lot of the hero stuff. And I'm just waiting for this storyline to pick up a bit. And to see them working together again. And, Jefferson wasn't really into Blackbird when he heard about it. And to see whether or not he's gonna approve of what she's been doing.
Yes, I'm just excited that he's out so all this can happen. I also loved when every woman in his family was like, oh, you're home. Great. Okay, bye.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about poor Tobias Whale getting cooked?
Oh man. Yeah, it was like ugh. So yeah, he's really sensitive to ultra Agent Odell unleashed pure ultraviolet rays on him. Yeah, and it was like watching Cassidy burn on Preacher. Yeah. I don't like seeing Tobias this week. I'm ready for him to stand up and fight back.
Same. I get annoyed by his speechifying while jazz plays in his fancy lair, and yet this is hard to watch. Give him back his jazz and his fancy lair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, I'm already ready for Agent Odell to get taken out. Like, what's really going on here? What's the truth? Who's the real bad guys? Like, let's move forward. I feel like we've
I'm with you. I don't think it's Markovia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I feel like we've set some stuff up, and I'd like a little bit more movement now. I feel like it's been a little bit too much exposition for these first 3 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is there anything more to talk about? Is there anything we missed? I think we touched on everything.
Just a tiny bit of news, and that is about Jefferson's new suit. Cress Williams did an interview with comicbook.com, and he said that the new suit is a lot lighter and more flexible. His original suit was like 60 pounds. And so since he's doing crossover and things, he's really enjoying the freedom of movement in this newer, lighter suit. So I am happy for Cress Williams. He and Melissa Benoist on Supergirl have better duds this season. Congratulations to them.
Yeah, cool. That's great. All right. Ready to move on?
Yeah.
All right. Next up is The Flash. Season 6, Episode 3, Dead Man Running. Barry and Iris told the team about Crisis, and Killer Frost did not take it well. Barry and Frost investigated a robbery homicide involving dark matter weapons, and the trail led them to Dr. Ramsey Rosso. Cecile and Ralph helped Ralph's degenerate mom prove her alibi for a burglary. Iris stole a story from an intern and tracked down the new multiversal artifact hunting Wells. Last minute reveal, Nash Wells uncovered a manhole and found what he was looking for.
Okay, in the interest of time, are you ready?
Okay.
I like this Wells very, very much. Iris, you were never an ambitious cub reporter. How many times are they going to name drop Ted Cord before they introduce Ted Cord? That was a really good looking gang of thieves at the beginning. I'm super into the Barry and Frost training. It took me 49 damn minutes before I said, oh, Romero, he's a zombie. And Ralph is ready to meet Sue. The end. You go now.
I thought you'd get a kick out of the idea of Iris just stealing from an intern.
She's the worst. I like her better as a character this season, but then they put her in the journalism setting. I'm just like, nope, I hate her again.
Yeah, also Allegra definitely has a right to be upset.
Yes, Allegra should quit. You should quit. Take your talents to whatever the competing paper is.
Mm-hmm. And it's the kind of thing where, like, yeah, it's weird. It's weird because, like, we've seen so many different versions of Harrison Wells. You don't realize that, the Earth 1 version of him is a wanted killer. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what it says about me that I was like, this is the most attractive version of Harrison Wells we've ever gotten, but there it is.
Yeah.
Nobody listening to this is surprised.
Yeah. This is kind of like, they're going for like Indiana Jones romancing the stone type of vibe. Yeah, and I thought it was fun. I'm looking forward to more of it. Now, the artifact that he mentioned he was looking for is something called Eternium. Do you know what Eternium is?
I don't. I assume it's located on the periodic table next to unobtainium.
Well, you know how Krypton or kryptonite is fragments of the blown up planet Krypton?
Yes, of course.
Well, Eternium is fragments of the Rock of Eternity, which is the place where the wizard Shazam lives. So there's a little bit of a Shazam connection there, which we're not going to get Shazam on this show, but I thought that was a cool little backdoor and acknowledgement that the Rock of Eternity exists.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And like you mentioned, they name dropped Ted Kord again. We're like, we have to get this guy. He's gonna show up before Crisis.
For real, they've mentioned him a lot across different shows.
Yes.
If he doesn't show up in Crisis, I will be shocked. I haven't heard any casting that I can recall, but they got to have a Ted Kord, right?
Yeah. And what the interesting thing is Crisis on Infinite Earths happened right after DC Comics had bought the rights to the Charlton Comics characters, which included Blue Beetle and Captain Atom. And, so like his first major storyline, the first major storyline where you saw Blue Beetle appear was in Crisis. So, it kind of fits in with the history, and where Ted Kord Blue Beetle is, Booster Gold can't be far behind. So yeah. Exciting things happening. Oh, man, I hope they end up on Legends. But yeah. So yeah, you mentioned Mitch Romero, or it was a Romero zombie. We got to learn more about Ramsey Rosso. I don't understand why Barry didn't trust him.
My favorite part with that was him saying, "Commence the human trials," and he just slams that beaker into a wall. Okay. Not usually how it goes.
Yeah. Someone's a big fan of Willem Dafoe in Spider-Man.
Aren't we all? I mean,
yeah. Barry should have listened to Frost. Although eventually Barry wised up. But yeah. Some heavy stuff in there, and this is not going well. Interesting they find out that Ramsey is working so hard because he has HLH. That was something that was new this episode. I thought that was cool. And yeah.
And it makes it, I don't want to say that that's selfish, but it's not like he's doing this for his mom. At this point, he's doing it for himself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'm just looking through here, and I guess the other big thing was Killer Frost, kind of working out her issues and what's going on with Crisis. I thought that was interesting. I thought that was handled well. I'm still surprised that she hasn't let Caitlin come back yet.
I'm enjoying Frost. I loved the birthday party, and I loved how quickly Ralph was like, "Oh, a birthday party? All right, let's dance." Like, he just was the one who rolled right into it.
Yes.
And we got to see Snake Eye Guy. I love Snake Eye Guy.
Norvok.
I love him.
Oh, Norvok. Oh, man.
I'm just sad Katie Sackhoff wasn't there. Next time. And yeah, and you mentioned Ralph. Yeah, we got to meet Ralph's mom, who's also a degenerate. And did you catch the Easter egg with her boyfriend Marv Perez? Absolutely not.
So the writer and artist of Crisis on Infinite Earths, the writer is Marv Wolfman, and the artist is George Perez. So Marv Perez.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was a lot of fun. I think of her as Caroline in the City's roommate who is in Cats. It's always nice to see her in things. So, yeah.
All right.
That just put me very firmly in the late 90s, I realize. It's fine.
It's fine.
And I think we can all agree Ralph is ready to meet Sue.
Yes, Ralph is ready to meet Sue. And I do hope that that mom reads that book. And is not so tough on herself. Like, come on, everyone deserves somebody.
Yes.
All right. Any news for Flash?
Danny Trejo's coming back in Kiss Kiss Breach Breach, so everybody rejoice. And in fact, Ralph is getting ready to meet Sue. There was an EW.com interview with Hartley Sawyer, who plays Ralph, talking about how they're positioning him for that, and we are going to see Sue in the back half of this season.
Ooh, okay. All right. All right. So yeah. That means we're done with Flash, and next up is Arrow, Season 8, Episode 2. Welcome to Hong Kong. In the future, William tried accessing a flash drive while Mia and Connor went to a bar and had an awkward chat with John Jr. In the present, Oliver and John ran into Katana while looking for a missing physicist. Laurel was in denial about the whole her world got wiped from existence thing. Last minute reveal, Lila met with the Monitor on her own and handed over Dr. Wong.
Oh, Lila, that was surprising.
Yeah. She's the head of Argus. She learned from Amanda Waller. You gotta know she's looking out for Earth's best interests. If someone was going to go behind Oliver's back, I think that makes sense. And even if Oliver doesn't trust the Monitor, I don't understand why he didn't just hand him over right away. Or we didn't get to see that confrontation.
Yeah, same. I feel like Oliver had some speechifying this week.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what he does. It's fine. He also did some crying. This is a very tear-centric season for poor Oliver Queen. Stop making Oliver Queen cry. He's doing the best he can.
Yeah, I did like that we got to see Katana, aka Tatsu, and China White. I love
China White.
I love the looks of those characters. And I love the showdown. What's funny is we skipped over season 2. Last episode was all season 1 stuff. This episode is referencing back to the flashbacks from season 3. Season 2 was the Deathstroke season. So, if they can't use Deathstroke, or if Manu Bennett's not available for some reason, maybe that's why we skipped over. But, I thought that.
Plus, we got all those Deathstrokes in the future.
Yes. Yeah, the future. Yeah. That felt completely pointless.
Yeah, I continue to enjoy William. His acerbic humor. He's the Felicity now, and that's fun. But I don't need as much future. I don't know. Mia's just sort of mean and intense, and JJ and future. Also, I didn't need that much Laurel.
Well, okay, so yeah, you know what? I gotta say, I think as clunky as it was, I think you definitely needed that. You needed Laurel to have a moment where, like, no, I have to go back. I have to be able to go back. Like, that trauma, that makes sense to me. If she just like washed it off and walked away thinking oh, okay, so I can't go back because it's not there anymore, that would have felt too flippant to me. You needed to have her with that breakdown and face the truth.
Yeah, I guess if she is going to be the level of character that she's going to be this season, that makes sense. She's not been, I don't know, I've just never found her to be a compelling character, and one I needed to spend that much time with. But if we have to do it, the emotional aspect of it, I suppose, makes sense from a storytelling point.
Yeah, and I think this story actually makes her character more interesting than she's ever been. I guess if we've gotta. Sorry, I just cannot bring myself to be enthusiastic about Laurel. Well, I will say back to Lila quick. We did get a tweet from at Molly2910, who's saying, I am so beyond thrilled that our Lila is Harbinger on Arrow, and it looks like she met up with the Monitor in Afghanistan when she pled for almighty help. So happy, she is such a badass. What the hell is Diggle going to say?
I am curious about that.
Yeah. So I thought that was an interesting theory. That gives us a little bit of clarification as to where she might have encountered the Monitor. Yeah. Yeah, so the flash forwards we're not so keen on. I thought this episode was really good. I thought the action in it was great. And yeah, now Oliver is questioning the Monitor, and it's going to be interesting to see that showdown when he doesn't have a bargaining chip.
And I did like when he beat himself up for denying the orders of a cosmic being, and Diggle being like, "No, man, you did what you thought was best." Diggle's such a good friend.
Yes. Yeah. Do you think Katana follows them through, or do you think she's gonna stay where she is?
I think they can only afford so many guest stars. She stays where she is.
All right. All right. Was there any news for Arrow?
Yeah, a couple of things. We have the title for the series finale. It is Fade Out, which, appropriate for series finale. It is also the part of the longbow where the grip tapers into the risers and the limbs. So Fade Out has a dual meaning, which is cool. Mark Guggenheim also tweeted the last page of the last script for the finale there, and the last 2 words of spoken dialogue on Arrow are "of possibility."
Oh, now
which is weird.
Now, when I read that script, I wasn't sure if that was dialogue or if that was action. So it might just be...
Okay, that's interesting. I guess I assumed dialogue, but maybe I was jumping to a conclusion, and it could just be some sort of description. I don't know. I guess we'll find out soon enough.
Yeah.
A couple more things. Thea is back next week. Very exciting. Always nice to see her. And there have been some photos leaked of a big battle during the crossover shooting of all the heroes' stunt doubles in their costumes, sort of doing the big run and group fight. But people noticed that Diggle's armor looks a little more green, like lanternish green, apparently. So whether that's intentional or just the light, or they're just playing with us, lanterny Diggle is always cool. And we have a photo of Stephen Amell that looks like it was taken toward the end of shooting the crossover, where he really has that Green Lantern, or the Green Arrow goatee. Like, he's really got that Green Arrow pointy. Right, you saw it, Ed. That looked like the goatee.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
It made me happy. Looks good.
Yeah. All right. We got one show left, Sarah. One show left.
Zip. Let's do it.
All right, and that show is Titans. Season 2, Episode 8, Jericho. A long time ago, Slade Wilson's job as a master assassin made life tough for his son Jericho. 5 years ago, Dick and the Titans made friends with Jericho to try and take revenge on his dad. Last minute reveal, Dick stood idle as the other Titans packed up and left.
I'm going to say something mildly critical about Titans.
What's that?
I was a little disappointed that this episode undid some of the drama of the end of the previous episode.
In what way?
Dick being all, "I killed Jericho!" And then in the end, I mean, did he? He put him in a position, but like his dad did it. But like, I didn't want Dick to be a cold-blooded killer necessarily, but it felt like a cop-out to me.
Yeah, but like, Dick Grayson isn't a killer, I mean, but he definitely feels responsible for what happened, and that's understandable.
It's on me for not knowing that it was going to be his guilt and not his actual action. And again, I don't want him to be a killer. They set up certain expectations last week that weren't quite followed through on, I think.
But it's also interesting that this episode is we've had 8 episodes so far this season, and 3 of them have been outside of the main story. 2 that you've had the flashback to Garth's death, you had the this week's flashback, and then you had the side story with Superboy. So yeah, and it's almost weird, like the way they're laying out this season. It feels like it's step forward then step back. Yeah.
Agreed that it's strange.
Mm-hmm.
The stories and characters they're focusing on, and how we've talked about this before, but it's almost like they realize they should have just done the original Titans.
I mean, I do hope from this point forward, it's all straightforward, that it's all in the present and one storyline. However, I am glad that we got this episode. I'm glad that we learned a little bit more about Jericho, that he wasn't just, some aimless kid who who got in the crossfire, that we learned that he did have a relationship with his father. And there was a lot of guilt on Slade's part for what happened. I did like all of that context. I thought we had an interesting moment for Donna, where she's told by Jillian to like step aside, and then Jillian ends up getting killed by Slade, and Slade actually does complete his mission.
Yeah,
and I'm wondering,
R.I.P. Amazonian lady.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we found out, like, after this point, Donna gives up being a hero, and kind of goes off and has her own life doing something else. So it's interesting to see this as the main catalyst. It wasn't just losing Garth; it was Jillian's death as well. And like that fight that she has with Slade, that was brutal.
That was hard to watch.
Yes.
Whew.
Yeah, and like, some real, like, and that is Deathstroke. Like, to me, I think S.I. Morales is doing a great job portraying Slade Wilson. Where like you can even see, like, when he's facing off against Dick, he's just like, I'm going easy on you guys because I know you're out of your league. And you need to stop being children. And realize the consequences. I thought that was really great.
I like that he at some point turned into like Darth Vader. So emotional, that's why you lack control. All right. It's very Lucas-y dialogue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, basically, like, this isn't a schoolyard, guys. You need to get out of here.
But I like that the Titans all realized they couldn't do what they were going to do to Jericho. They're decent people, and they were like, no, we probably shouldn't do that. Mm-hmm. So, they tried to do the right thing. Get him a greeting card. Well, you tried. I just want to be congratulated for waiting as long as I did to bring up Hank dancing and showing off his abs.
I was about to bring that up. Yeah, and evidently he pulled his groin. I'm sorry, Jericho.
Well, he wasn't used to moving like that with the fluidity of a jungle cat. He just wasn't used to it.
That was fun. And Jericho, we got to see his power is that he can body hop, which tells me that he's still alive.
Yeah, that's that. My husband may have said, "Oh, you don't think he's still alive? You don't know that he can body hop?" And I was like, "Wait, what?" So sometimes he does that to me because he's a nightmare. So I mean, not confirmed, but it does seem like that could be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh, man. A lot going on here. So yeah. So what does this mean for the present now?
Will Gar have any dialogue?
Will Gar have any dialogue
this season?
Well, also, like, Dick came clean with Jason, but if Jason tells everyone, are Rachel and Gar and Corey still going to trust Dick?
That is a good question.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Perhaps that will be next week.
Yes. Yes, questions for next week. All right. Is anything more to say about the episode?
No, and no news.
No news. Okay. All right, then I guess we're on to news for other shows.
Okay, this will be fast. We don't have much, starting with Legends of Tomorrow. Brandon Routh is done with his time on the Wave Rider. He posted on social media a heartfelt farewell to the cast and crew and how much he's loved playing Ray Palmer, Dominic Purcell. Also, social media to goodbye to Brandon Routh. Our friend at Bauer Fett sent me a text wellness check, and I appreciate a Twitter wellness check, and I appreciate that. Thank you, Brian. I'm sad, but I'm gonna get through this. I'm gonna miss him, but we'll get through this together. So,
all right,
yeah. And then Lucifer. The 4th episode of the upcoming season of Lucifer is going to be a 1950s set, black and white, alt-reality noir musical. Did you follow me through all of that?
Wow, Lucifer in black and white in 50s suits singing. There's nothing bad about that sentence.
Lots of musical episodes, including a couple from Maze. Apparently, we saw her sing last season, and it was wonderful. All the characters are going to be playing very different versions of themselves. I could not be more excited.
Cool. All right. And that's all the news for this week, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Wow, that was fast. All right, now it's time for our winners of the week.
I'll go first.
Okay.
My winners of the week this week were all the comic relief in otherwise relatively heavy episodes. Mary on Batwoman was funny in awkward situations. Jen on Black Lightning being hilarious and talking about the terrible things that happened at her high school. William on Arrow, the only bright spot in the flash forwards. Hank on Titans, busting a move. They're just, these were serious shows this week, and several characters gave us the funny, and I appreciated that. So I took the easy way out and went comic relief winner of the week.
My winner for the week is Rodgers and Hammerstein.
So kind of the same. Gotcha.
Yeah. And I kind of explained this in the episode recap, but just, the whole idea of Oklahoma and the way that was utilized. And yeah. Now, Sarah, you may be a little young for this, but were you a big fan of Don Johnson's hit single, Heartbreak?
No, I can't say I've ever been much of a Don Johnson fan. Are you?
Okay. Well, no, but I heard them talk about it constantly on I Love the 80s. So that's my context for it. That he's not only the star of a hit TV show, Miami Vice, that he also had a music career. And yeah, we saw a little peek of that. And we're not going to see much more. So yeah, Rodgers and Hammerstein.
That's a good winner.
All right, and Sarah, we're done. Ooh, done with the episode.
Sorry about that length, y'all.
Yeah. Well, we had 7 of them, so that's to be expected, but that's okay. All right, that's the DC TV report for this week. You can find us on Twitter. I'm at Little Eddie O'Hare.
I'm at Sara Netzley, SaranEtzley.
And follow the show on Twitter at DCTV Report. Send along your emails to dctv@wickedtheory.com. Also, be sure to subscribe to our show on your podcast app of choice and rate and review us. That helps more people find us. Check out our sister show, the Wicked Theory Podcast. This has been a Wicked Theory Studios production. Executive producer, Bill Sweeney. Visit us at wickedtheory.com. Shazam, everybody.
Shazam.
Shazam.